there is confrontation taking place between India and Pakistan at two levels right now. One, the co-commanders in Rawalpindi trying to take stock of the Indian surgical strike and deciding what steps and retaliatory measures to take. And the other, the surgical strike carried out by Adnan Sami on Twitter, which has sparked a nuclear war of sorts, at least on social media. Joining us now on India Today is renowned composer, singer, pianist Adnan Sami. Thank you so much. Welcome to India Today. This is the first time he'll be speaking ever since he set off this nuclear explosion on social media. Adnan, welcome.
Thank you.
Adnan, you're the son of a Pakistani Air Force Air Marshal, a very decorated war hero who won gallantry awards in 1965. Went on to become one of the most distinguished diplomats of his nation. And you've tweeted after India's surgical strike, and I want to take those people through this tweet who haven't yet found out, which essentially means you're not on social media. Adnan Sami 2 days ago tweeted to say, "Big congratulations to Prime Minister of India and our brave armed forces for a brilliant, surgical and mature strategic strike against terrorism. #salute." Now that is stupendous. In perspective, what made you do it?
I'm Indian. And the most important thing is that if you read this tweet, before even the tweet, when this strike took place, and post the strike, our army chief held a press conference and gave a brief to the nation about what had occurred. He was very clear, in which he said that we made a strike against terrorist camps. And so he was he actually set the tone that, look, he made it very clear that this is an attack against terrorists and terrorist camps. He didn't say that we have attacked Pakistan. He categorically stated terrorist camps. Now, in my tweet, I followed suit that yes, this was a brilliant job, well done, and we're proud of you, and hats off in the manner in which it was conducted and the maturity with which it was done. And that is all I said. I never mentioned Pakistan.
But you've seen the kind of responses this tweet has received.
Yes.
As of now, there are 9,819 retweets, 13.8 thousand likes, which is incredible, even though you've got a lot of presence in social media and you're very popular, but even by your popular standards, this is huge. It's also set off a lot of very negative reactions from Pakistan, very nasty personal reactions directed against you.
Nasty and creative. Some of them I saw and I said, whoa. I didn't think about that one. That's good.
You have a sense of humor through all this nasty.
I'll note this one down for next time.
No, but so, like you're being hailed virtually as a hero in India for having said what you did, which is absolutely the right thing. You're also being looked at in Pakistan as a villain, as a traitor, as a deserter.
I tell you what. First of all, I've got Pathan blood in me, and when someone tries to bully or intimidate or something, I've got that attitude, प्यार से मांगेंगे तो दिल में जान दे देंगे. But the point is that when I saw the complete, absolute misinterpretation and complete, conclusive, insinuation, where they had concluded that I'm talking about Pakistan, I actually got angry. Which is why I then followed it up.
So that's your follow-up tweet.
Yeah.
I'll read that out to our viewers. Now, Pakistanis are outraged by my earlier tweet. Their outburst clearly means they see terrorist and Pakistan as the same. #self-goal, #stop terrorism.
Yeah. And I stood by it and I stand by it today as well. Because the point is that you need to sort of up your game. You need to realize that you have complained, the world has complained to you that you are exporting terrorism. That's not a secret, everybody knows it. When the world comes and complains to you and says, what are you doing? Your response is, well, you know what? we are the biggest victim of terrorism. They are our enemies as well. Because after all, the amount of suicide bombings that have taken place in Pakistan, the kind of killings that have happened in mosques, you know, they're supposed to be jihadis, but then if they're real hardcore jihadis, you're not going to do your own fellow Muslims. And above all, the massacre, the tragedy that happened in Peshawar at the the Army Public School. The point is that means that you have also disowned them, right? That is what the matter is. All right, so they don't belong to you. They don't belong to us. That means they are our common enemy. So, if you are not able to sort it out and they're also creating a menace here, and we go and attack them and say, right, out, enough of you. You should also be happy that at least a certain amount of pressure has been helped by my fellow neighbor. It's like, for example, if I give you a simile, like for example, I have a neighbor, and for some reason that neighbor is consistently letting this garbage coming out of his house, and it is falling into my domain of my house, and I complain to him and I say, hey, you know what, please, there's some garbage coming in from your house into my house, can you please do something about it? And he said, it's not from me. He said, well, it's coming from your place. He said, well, you know what, I'm having a problem with that as well. I don't know how it's happening, what's happening. I'm also being polluted with this garbage. Oh, I turn around and say, you know what, please sort it out. A few days go by, he's not able to sort it out. Eventually, I feel that it is becoming a menace for my family. My house is getting corrupted on account of it, getting affected. So he's not able to do it. I feel I'm going to give it a go. And I will go and then clean that garbage out, because he's not able to do it. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm being a good Samaritan. I'm being a good neighbor. I'm helping my fellow neighbor. So what is the complaint about that?
No, the complaint is that the neighbor doesn't think of it as garbage at all.
No, they do. You see, that's the thing. That's the funny part, because they're the ones saying that we are victims as well.
No, but the likes of a Hafiz Saeed, the Maulana Masood Azhar, a Sayyid Salahuddin are actually looked at as heroes in Pakistan. They're not looked at as globally designated, internationally recognized, UN designated terrorists.
Well, you know, that is something that I'm not qualified to answer. Because, you know, I mean, who they have decided to make into a hero and who they've decided, I mean, you know, there's got to be some kind of a warped way of thinking, or some kind of a brainwashing, or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is that you need to realize that no matter how much you love your body, if there is something that is septic on a part of your foot, which, if you do not attend to it, can become horrible, you have to cut it off. You have to take it away. Otherwise, it'll eat up the rest of your body. And you have to get your priorities right. And the problem is that it is contagious. And if you're not able to sort it out, then somebody has to, because it has to stop.
So you're wearing your tricolor with pride.
Yes.
You still don't have family in Pakistan. Your mother stays in Pakistan.
Yes.
Are you worried for the safety of your family?
No. Because I am a very spiritual person. My entire family is. And there is a saying in the Quran Sharif, which is Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. And that means God is sufficient and God is my greatest protector. And He will protect not just them, but all of us. So we have to leave it to Him. And whatever our destinies are, she's my mother, the greatest source of love for me. She wants me to be happy. Her prayers are with me. She's my mother. And my love and prayers are with her. And nothing can change that.
Which is fantastic. What do you have to say to all those people? I saw some of Pakistan's most popular anchors, politicians, diplomats. They all came for you with quite a lot of vengeance.
Bring it on, baby.
How How's it been for you ever since you got your Indian citizenship?
Wonderful, wonderful. You know, I mean, jokes apart, the point is, you need to understand and respect something, that everyone on this earth has got the right to choose. And when a person decides to choose at a later point in his life, he chooses so as an educated guess, as an educated decision. And it's with a tremendous amount of conviction, and after weighing the pros and cons, and also it's what's in your heart. I have the right to choose where I want to live and whom I want to be. Nobody has the right to dictate that to me or anybody else. You're not happy with it? Have a cream soda.
How do you define your relationship with Pakistan? People of Pakistan, you've got family, you've got friends, you spend a lot of time in the United Kingdom, so you haven't lived extensively in Pakistan, but you've spent time there. What do you think of the people and just the way the nation state is right now?
You know, the love is there. And I love, the thing that they need to understand is that I love them as much as I love anyone around the world. Because anyone who has given me love, I've never looked at where they come from, what color of their skin or their religion, their beliefs. They love my music. They've made me who I am. So, all my fans are responsible for putting me where I am. And I will always love them and respect them.
There are people in Pakistan who say that Adnan Sami is doing this for the money, and therefore he's in some senses compelled to be more patriotic than the others to prove that he's Indian.
Okay, that's an interesting point that you raised. Because there's this, you know, there's this misconception. People think that I came out of the street and suddenly saw this fame and fortune and got dazzled by it. They don't realize that what you said a little while ago, my father was ADC to 3 presidents. He was ambassador to 14 countries. My grandfather was the governor of 4 provinces of Afghanistan. My great-grandfather was the advisor of King Amanullah. I have seen and I have lived, by the grace of God, with a tremendous amount of wealth. He put me through the best institutions, the most fantastic institutions for education. Sent me to rugby school, University of London and Lincoln's Inn, all that. I have seen a very privileged life. And I never, ever chose my profession because of the money. I chose my profession because I loved it. I did, my father being a person from the civil service and that whole typical background of a conservative background, he didn't impose that on me. He said, listen, I will support you, and he was a huge support. He said, I only have one condition. And I said, what? He said, I want you to get a great education. So he educated me in the best of institutions of the world, and they don't come cheap. And I became a barrister. And after I became a barrister, I said, Baba, I fulfilled my part of the dream. Now let me just, your part of the dream, let me pursue mine. He said, all yours. And so I chose it for that. There were times when people came to me, there have been people coming to me, and they've come to me with blank checks. And they said, I've signed it, you put an amount in it. And I suddenly don't feel right about it. I said, I'm sorry, I don't want to do it. Money has never been a motivating factor. That's one thing very clear. And people who know me, people who know my family in Pakistan and in Afghanistan, they know that money is the last thing on my mind.
Are the same people upset with you for the choice that you made?
Not at all.
Do they come and tell you, Ammi, that
not at all.
Kya kar diya, kyun kiya isme?
Not at all. Yeah? Not at all. And my mother is a very stern person. She has stood by me through thick and thin. And the point of the matter is that she knows my love for India.
What was going through your head when you took the decision to opt for Indian citizenship? Did the choice come easy, or did
No.
it require a lot of thought,
No.
churn?
I'll tell you what was the final, you know, what they say, you know, that final stroke that convinced me that this is what I want. And I'll tell you, you'll be surprised. You, in your introduction, you said that my father was a decorated officer from the Air Force, and he fought the '65 war, and he was very highly decorated and so on and so forth. You're right.
He won the 3rd highest gallantry award.
Yes, yes, the 2nd highest. And now, that was something that happened in 1965. I wasn't even born then, okay? And then he moved on to other professions, you know. I mean, he became a diplomat, he became chief of protocol, he became an ambassador to 14 countries and so on and so forth. And then he developed cancer. And he fought cancer for 20 years. In 2009, when his point had, you know, he was, I think I got a lot of my determination, my, you know, the willpower from him. In 2009, after fighting pancreatic cancer, which is one of the most lethal ones, for 20 years, he was in his absolute, you know, the sunset of his life. I mean, he was in his last days. And I said to him, I said, Baba, you know, why don't you come over to Mumbai? Let me give it a shot. Let's try and see, maybe you will, you know, you might be able to, you know, they might be able to do some miraculous treatment. He said, okay, I'll come. He came. Believe me, the kind of love, humanity, and the kind of attention, care that they gave him in Mumbai was something that, like I said, was the final, you know, the final thing, that stroke, that the humanity, knowing fully well that, all right, here's a man who was on the line of duty. You know, a soldier has to follow duty. You know, he has to do what he has to do. You know, it's not personal in many ways. You know, it's something which is, you know, you're called and you have to do it. But the doctors, the people around, they said, to hell with that. Here's a man, he is on his deathbed, and we are going to do everything we can to try and help him out of it. They rose above that. That was humanity. And I said, this is something worth saluting. And this is where I want to be, with this kind of humanity. And that's what made me absolutely clear.
And Indians in India have welcomed you with open arms.
Yes, I mean, you see, that is another factor. I am not my father. I don't have that luggage, you know. And I came through music. But here is a situation, as you mentioned, where you have an Air Force officer who has fought a war, and everybody is rising above that and saying, no, let's save. That's humanity.
That shows humanity above all else.
Yes.
There's a second debate that's raging at this time after Bajrangi Bhaijan Salman Khan, a film whose wonderful songs you sang so soulfully. Salman jumped in saying that Pakistani artists shouldn't be forced to leave India, that they should stay. Now, Bollywood split down the middle on this question. Adnan Sami, where do you stand?
Well, you know, the point is that I, being an artist, and especially, I mean, being a musician, music, is what all the cliches are. It is without any boundaries. It is a universal language. And art is all those cliches that people talk about. It is. Because what the goodwill that you can win over within 5 minutes with a crowd, with your art. Diplomats take days and months and years to create that rapport. So there is something phenomenal about art, and it is about that. However, so I agree with that. You know, I think the issue is that where I think the divide took place was that they felt that some of these artists, when Uri happened, they went mum. They chose silence, and they wanted possibly to hear something from them. What do you have to say about it? And maybe they decided to stay quiet, and that bothered them.
No, because when 26/11 happened, you spoke very strongly against the terror attack at that time,
Yes.
even though you were in India,
Yes.
and the terror emanated from Pakistani soil, was being controlled from there. You weren't an Indian citizen at that time.
That's right, yeah, yeah. But you see, I mean, that was my commitment and my love and, feelings. I cannot, I mean, to each his own, I mean, that's the way I felt, and it felt from the heart. Over here, they may have felt something else.
Are you disappointed with the likes of Fawad Khan?
Well, it's not it's not a question of anybody in particular. The point is I like to simplify things. Life is sometimes unnecessarily complicated. I mean, it's as simple as this. You go to somebody's house. You're their guest. They offer they bring out the red carpet. They completely wine and dine you, and they look after you. Great hospitality. They're great hosts. You have a great time with them, and suddenly in the middle of the evening, a fire breaks out in the house. Now you happen to be there. You happen to be having a great time. Now, if you choose at that point in time to just say, hey, you know what, I want to get the hell out of here, and just sort of out. The host has got to be right to turn around and say, hey, what happened? Where did he go? You mean to say that I had this thing and you mean he just left?
So you're saying a condemnation of an attack like that is the least that's expected.
I mean, the point of the matter is that if you're part of something, as a friend, someone who has been looking after you, at least put in. If you're not able to bring out the fire hose, at least turn around and at least be there to just say, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry that this happened.
You're an all-Indian hero of sorts, and it's fantastic having had you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.